Gentlemen, welcome to the Laptop Lap Dances Week 6 preview. Let's get started. First off, we have a stat correction with major implications to go over that went in this morning. My Lions defense last week was granted 1 extra point for a forced fumble on special teams at some point in the game. That gave me an extra point, which did put me over the median last week and sent Josh below the median last week. He had originally outscored me by like 0.25 points for the median. That extra point sends me over and sent me to 2-0. So last week, honestly, I probably should have gone 0-2, but a Jordan Love interception at the end of the game and then a stat correction 3 days later made me 2-0. So a pretty crazy week for me there. This stat correction sent me up 2 spots to number 4. Nathan and Ethan each went down 1 spot. Josh got sent from 7 to 8, and Noah went from 8 to 7. So that is all the changes that happened after that stat correction. All right, with that, let's go over what our standings look like now. Our number 1 seed is Justin, who was our only 8-2 team. Hats off to you, Justin, for a great start. After that, with the stat correction, we have 3 6-4 teams, Jesse, Danny, and myself. Then we have a pair of 5-5 teams in Nathan and Ethan. Number 7, our last playoff spot is Noah at 4-6, but right behind him are 2 more 4-6 teams in Josh and Brent. And then poor Steve-O is sitting at 10 at 2-8, hoping to get bounced back into the win column this week. All right, London again. For the 3rd week in a row, we have a London game, which means you're gonna have to get up at 9 a.m. You're gonna have to make sure that those lineups are set. We have the Ravens and the Titans playing in London. So if you have a Raven or you have a Titan, make sure that they are good to go Sunday morning, especially if they are injured. Our bye weeks this week, we only have 2, so not too bad. The Steelers and the Packers are both on a bye, so if you have one of those teams' players, just be aware of that. All right, let's get into these matchups. First up, number 5, Nathan, who is 5-5, taking on number 9, Brent, who is 4-6. London is going to be a big game for this matchup. We've got Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins taking on Derrick Henry. So we'll see how that goes. Kirk Cousins versus Justin Fields in the same game. 2 huge fantasy quarterbacks going head-to-head in the same game and the same matchup. So hopefully that's a high-powered game for this team. Dallas Goedert versus Sam Laporta, 2 really great fantasy tight ends going head-to-head. Now, Sam Laporta did not practice today, so that's something to keep an eye on. Nico Collins versus Curtis Samuel, 2 lesser-known wide receivers who have really emerged this year into a new role in their offense. Brent is done after the 4 p.m. slate. He has no primetime games. And then Nathan will finish the matchup with Stephon Diggs on Sunday Night Football. Nathan is without Najee Harris, and Brent is without his defense, the Steelers' defense. I am going to take Nathan to win this game. All right, next up, number 8, Josh, 4-6 after that stat correction, taking on number 10, Steve-O, who is 2-8. Steve-O in desperate need of a win. Got to get back in the win column. Got to start getting some wins before we get too deep into the season. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce tonight, that elite stack with Taylor Swift in attendance, mind you, versus Courtland Sutton tonight on Thursday Night Football. So tonight is a big game for this matchup. In London, we've got Justice Hill taking on Mark Andrews and the Ravens defense. So that Ravens game will have major implications here. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne versus Stevens Zay Jones. So if those touchdowns go to Zay Jones, that could hurt Josh. Brandon Ayuk versus Jerome Ford in the same game in that Browns versus Niners game. So we'll see who can outscore who. Josh is done after the 4 p.m. slate. He does not have anyone else. Steven has Gabe Davis on Sunday Night Football, and then he finishes with Josh Palmer on Monday Night Football. Josh has no bye weeks this week, but Steven is without Aaron Jones. I am going to take Steven to win this game and get back in the win column. All right, next up, number 4, Philip, who's 6-4 after that Stat correction, taking on number 6 Ethan, who is 5-5. A rematch of our championship from 2 years ago. This was going to be our matchup of the week. I was really pumped for it until Ethan lost Justin Jefferson. Then it just didn't have that same elite firepower appeal, and I couldn't make it the matchup of the week anymore. Isaiah Pacheco versus the Chiefs defense tonight on Thursday Night Football, so that will start off with a bang there. David Montgomery versus Kenneth Walker, two running backs who have been putting their teams on their back going head-to-head here. Chris Olave versus Devontae Smith, two similar wide receivers there going head-to-head. The Vikings game has major implications here. Ethan losing Justin Jefferson. I have Jordan Addison, while Ethan has Alexander Madison, and he picked up KJ Osborne this week. So that Vikings offense, whoever scores, will have major implications on mine and Ethan's matchup. James Cook versus Darren Waller on Sunday Night Football. Now, Darren Waller is questionable to play, so we'll see. And then I have Justin Herbert and CeeDee Lamb on Monday Night Football, so Ethan will have to survive a onslaught on Monday. Ethan has no bye weeks. I am without Christian Watson and Jaylen Warren, so a pair of good fantasy options gone there. I am going to take myself to win this game. All right, our upset alert of the week. Number 2, Jesse at 6-4, taking on number 7, Noah at 4-6. Jesse opens this matchup with Lamar Jackson in London. We've got Breece Hall versus Josh Jacobs in this matchup, two great fantasy running backs. Devontae Adams versus Jacoby Myers in this matchup, so which Raiders wide receiver can outscore who? Rashad White versus Jahmyr Gibbs in that Lions matchup, so we'll see which back can outscore if Jahmyr Gibbs even manages to play off that injury. Garrett Wilson versus Terry McLaurin, two similar wide receivers, both studs who just have struggled to have good quarterback play their whole careers. And then on Monday night, we have Pollard versus Jesse's Eckler and Cowboys defense. Jesse hoping to finally get Austin Eckler back this year after week 1. Neither team has any players on bye this week. Big matchup here. I am going to take Noah to upset Jesse in this matchup. All right, and our matchup of the week this week, number 1, Justin at 8-2, taking on number 3, Danny at 6-4. This is the I really don't like your team bowl. Whoever wins this matchup gets to say, I really don't like your team. Brock Purdy versus Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle in this matchup. So that 49ers offense will have implications here. Jalen Waddle versus Raheem Mostert. So if that Dolphins offense passes versus runs more. Joe Mixon versus Tyler Boyd, again, if that offense passes or runs more. And if T. Higgins doesn't play off that rib injury, then that is a boost for Boyd. DJ Moore versus TJ Hawkinson in the same game with Justin Jefferson out. Hawkinson might be Cousins' number 1 option. Who knows? Amari Cooper versus Michael Pittman in this matchup. That's a big one to keep an eye on. On Sunday night, it's Josh Allen and the Bills defense taking on Saquon Barkley. And then Danny will finish the matchup on Monday night with that wide receiver stud, Keenan Allen. Justin is without A.J. Dillon and George Pickens. Danny is without Romeo Doubs. A huge matchup here. I am going to take Danny to win this game. All right, and that is our Week 6 preview. A lot of big matchups here. Everyone needing wins and a lot of big teams going head-to-head here. I'm expecting a lot of high-scoring matchups here. Who knows where the median's going to be. But good luck, everybody, and let's ride.